I'm Catherine, and I grew up in what you might call a big family. Dad was hell-bent on having a son. So, they kept trying, over and over. Mom got pregnant again and again until the doctors finally put their foot down. No more, they said. It's too risky. That's when Mom and Dad finally threw in the towel on their dream of a boy. Being the oldest, I got stuck with a lot of the grunt work. Don't get me wrong, I loved my sisters, but sometimes it felt like I was more of a parent than a sibling. I had to grow up fast, you know? While other kids were out playing, I was changing diapers, doing laundry, and helping Mom with everything around the house. Things really changed when my youngest sister was born. It was like Mom and Dad suddenly remembered they were parents. They showered her with attention, bought her the best toys, signed her up for every club and activity under the sun. Whatever she wanted, she got. One day, when I was about 14, I overheard Mom talking on the phone. "I just don't have time for the older girls anymore," she said. "Catherine's handling it, though. She's such a good helper." Helper, that's what I was reduced to. Not a daughter, not even a sister, just a helper. But I had a secret that kept me going. My grandmother, Mom's mother. They'd had some big falling out years ago and hadn't spoken since. But I'd managed to find her number, and we'd been talking in secret. As I got older, I started to dream about college. I wanted more for myself than just being the family babysitter. But when I graduated high school, Mom and Dad dropped a bombshell on me. "There's no money for your education, Catherine," Dad said, not even looking me in the eye. "You need to get a job and help out financially. We need to save for your sister's education." That night, I cried myself to sleep, feeling trapped and hopeless. But then I remembered my secret weapon, Grandma. The next day, I called her, spilling out everything between sobs. "Don't you worry, sweetheart," she said, her voice firm and determined. "I'll pay for your college. You deserve a chance at a better life." And just like that, a whole new world opened up for me. I applied to colleges in other cities, dreaming of a fresh start. When I got accepted to study economics, I was over the moon. But my parents, they didn't see it that way. "You're abandoning your family," Mom accused, her eyes cold. "After everything we've done for you." Done for me? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "I've been raising your kids since I was a kid myself." "Get out," Dad said, his voice low and angry. "If you're going, then go. But don't expect any support from us." I packed my bags that night, my sisters watching with tear-filled eyes. "Don't go, Kathy," they pleaded. "I have to," I told them, hugging each one tight. "But I'll always be here for you. Always." As I walked out the door, I heard Dad's voice behind me. "Girls, you are not to have any contact with Catherine. Do you understand?" As I settled into college life, I felt like I could finally breathe. The campus was bustling with energy, and for once, I didn't have to worry about anyone but myself. But even as I embraced this new chapter, I couldn't shake the feeling of guilt. I missed my sisters fiercely. Despite my parents' ban, I couldn't bear the thought of completely cutting ties with them. One night, I got a call from an unknown number. My heart raced as I answered. "Kathy?" It was my second youngest sister's voice, barely above a whisper. "Emily? Is that you?" I could hardly contain my excitement. "Yeah, it's me. I'm using my friend's phone. Mom and Dad can't know." We talked for hours that night, catching up on everything. Emily told me how things had changed at home, how our parents were even stricter now, and how much they all missed me. "Even Sarah?" I asked, referring to our youngest sister. There was a pause on the other end. "Sarah, she's different, Kathy. She told Mom and Dad about us calling you. They took our phones away, but don't worry, we'll find ways to keep in touch. We love you, Kathy." Those secret calls became my lifeline. My sisters, except for Sarah, would use their friends' phones to reach out to me. We'd talk about their lives, their dreams, and I'd share stories about college. It wasn't the same as being there, but it was something. Meanwhile, I threw myself into my studies. Economics fascinated me, and I found myself excelling in my classes. My professors took notice, and soon I was being recommended for internships and special projects. As my college years flew by, I couldn't help but think about my family back home. I'd hear snippets from my sisters about how Sarah was still the golden child, how she was in all these clubs and always the center of attention. Mom and Dad are talking about sending her to some fancy private school, my sister Jessica told me during one of our secret calls. What about you and Emily? I asked, already knowing the answer. Oh, Jessica said, trying to sound nonchalant. We'll probably just go to the local high school. It's fine, really. But I knew it wasn't fine. I knew how it felt to be overlooked, to be treated like you didn't matter as much. It broke my heart that my sisters were going through the same thing. As graduation approached, I felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. I'd done well in college, thanks in no small part to my grandmother's support. She'd been my rock through it all, always there with a kind word or a bit of advice when I needed it. I'm so proud of you, Catherine, she told me over the phone one night. You've overcome so much. Your grandfather would have been proud too. The day of my graduation, I scanned the crowd, hoping against hope that maybe, just maybe, my parents and sisters would be there. But they weren't. The only familiar face in the sea of people was my grandmother's, beaming with pride. Fresh out of college, I hit the ground running. The job was challenging, but I thrived on it. Months flew by, and I settled into a routine. Work, gym, home, repeat. It wasn't exciting, but it was mine. I was building my own life, on my own terms. Then came the company's annual corporate party. I almost didn't go, large gatherings still made me a bit uncomfortable. But my colleague, Jen, insisted. Come on, Catherine, she pleaded. It'll be fun. Plus, I heard some bigwigs from our partner companies will be there. Great networking opportunity. The party was in full swing when I arrived. Soft jazz played in the background as people mingled, drinks in hand. I was about to make a beeline for the punch bowl when I quite literally bumped into someone. Oh, I'm so sorry, I stammered, looking up to see a pair of kind brown eyes. No harm done, the man said with a warm smile. I'm Michael, by the way. I don't think we've met. Catherine, I replied, shaking his hand. I'm from the economics department. We got to talking, and I learned that Michael was an executive from one of our partner companies. He was smart, funny, and easy to talk to. Before I knew it, hours had passed. As the party wound down, Michael asked for my number. I'd love to continue this conversation over coffee sometime, he said. I hesitated for a moment, then thought, why not? I'd spent so much of my life taking care of others. Maybe it was time to let someone take care of me for a change. Our first date turned into a second, then a third. Before I knew it, we were officially a couple. Michael was everything I'd never known I wanted, kind, supportive, and he actually listened when I talked. A year later, he proposed to me. As we started planning the wedding, I faced a dilemma. Should I invite my family? Despite everything, they were still my parents, my sisters. After much thought, I sent the invitations. To my parents, to all my sisters, even Sarah. I also sent one to my grandmother, the one person who had always been there for me. Weeks passed, and I heard nothing from my parents or sisters. Then, one day, I got a call from Emily. Kathy, she said, her voice trembling. We got your invitation. Mom and Dad, they won't let us come. They won't even let us send you a card. I'm so sorry. The day of the wedding arrived. As I stood in front of the mirror in my white dress, I felt a mix of joy and sadness. My grandmother walked in, her eyes shining with tears. Oh, Catherine, she said, hugging me tight. You look beautiful. I'm so proud of you. As I walked down the aisle towards Michael, I saw the faces of our friends, his family, and my grandmother. My family wasn't there, but I realized something important: family isn't always about blood. It's about love, support, and acceptance. The years after our wedding flew by in a whirlwind of love, laughter, and shared dreams. Michael and I settled into our life together, both of us continuing to work and build our careers. We traveled, we explored new hobbies together, and we talked endlessly about our future. And then we decided to start trying for a baby. Months passed, then a year, then 2. Nothing happened. We went through all the tests, tried every recommendation, but still, no baby. It was heartbreaking. The next few years were a roller coaster of hope and disappointment. We went through treatment after treatment, each failure hitting us harder than the last. One day, after another failed round of IVF, I broke down. Maybe we're not meant to be parents, I sobbed into Michael's chest. He held me tight, stroking my hair. Hey, look at me, he said gently. We're going to be parents. Maybe not in the way we originally thought, but we will be. What do you think about adoption? A child is a child, Catherine. All they need is love, and we've got plenty of that. His words warmed my heart, and I felt a glimmer of hope. Okay, I said, wiping my tears. Let's do it. Let's adopt. The adoption process was long and often frustrating. There were so many forms to fill out, interviews to go through, home studies to pass. But we persevered, driven by our desire to give a child a loving home. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, we got the call. The day we met Lily was one I'll never forget. She was tiny, with big brown eyes and skin darker than ours. She looked scared and confused, clinging to her social worker's hand. I knelt down to her level. Hi, Lily, I said softly. I'm Catherine, and this is Michael. We've been waiting a long time to meet you. She looked at us warily, then back at her social worker, who nodded encouragingly. Slowly, Lily reached out and took my hand. In that moment, I fell in love. This was our daughter. I didn't care that she didn't look like us or share our DNA. She was ours, and we were hers. When Lily was about 5, we sat her down and explained, in simple terms, how she came to be our daughter. We showed her pictures from the day we met her, told her how much we'd wanted her, how we'd fallen in love with her the moment we saw her. Lily listened intently, her brow furrowed in concentration. When we finished, she was quiet for a moment. So, you picked me? She asked finally. I smiled, tears in my eyes. Yes, sweetheart. Out of all the children in the world, we picked you. And we'd pick you again every single time. She beamed at us, then threw her arms around us both. I love you, Mommy and Daddy, she said. As I held my daughter close, I thought about my own childhood. The pain, the neglect, the feeling of never being good enough. I vowed then and there that Lily would never feel that way. She would always know how loved and wanted she was. Life has a funny way of bringing you full circle. One day, Michael said his company had opened a branch in my hometown. And he will become the head of this branch. The move was chaotic, as moves tend to be. But as we settled into our new home, I couldn't shake the feeling that I needed to reach out to my sisters. My parents had passed away a few years back. I hadn't gone to the funeral. But my sisters, maybe it was time to mend those fences. I reached out to Jessica and Emily first. They were cautious at first, but eager to reconnect. We met for coffee, and it was like no time had passed at all. They cooed over pictures of Lily, told me about their own families, their kids. We've missed you so much, Kathy, Emily said, squeezing my hand. We're so glad you're back. For a while, everything was perfect. We started having family gatherings, holiday celebrations. Lily was thrilled to have cousins to play with, and I loved seeing her surrounded by family. But then there was Sarah, our youngest sister. From the moment we reconnected, I could tell she hadn't changed much. She was still the spoiled, entitled girl she'd always been, now grown into a woman who thought the world revolved around her and her family. At our first big family gathering, Sarah showed up with her husband and their son, Tommy. From the moment they arrived, it was clear that Sarah saw this as a competition rather than a reunion. "Tommy, show your aunties how well you can sing," she'd say, pushing her son forward. "He's taking lessons, you know. The teacher says he's a prodigy." As the party went on, I noticed Lily hanging back, looking uncomfortable. She approached Tommy, holding out a piece of candy. "Want to share?" she asked shyly. Before Tommy could respond, Sarah swooped in. "Tommy, don't take that," she screeched. "Throw it away. Her hands are dirty." I was across the room in an instant. "Sarah, what are you talking about? Lily's hands are clean." But Sarah just glared at me, then at Lily. "Well, you never know with her kind," she said, her voice dripping with disdain. "Come on, Tommy. Let's go play with your real cousins." I stood there, shocked and hurt. Did she really just say that? About my daughter? From that moment on, things were tense. Sarah made it clear at every gathering that she didn't consider Lily part of the family. She'd loudly proclaim that Tommy couldn't play with Lily because who knows what diseases she might have, or we don't know her genetic background. Each time, I'd confront her, defend my daughter. But the damage was being done. I could see Lily withdrawing, becoming quieter at these family events. One day, I made a decision. I wouldn't force Lily to attend these gatherings anymore. I started declining invitations, making excuses. Jessica and Emily understood, even though they were disappointed. As the dust settled from our move and the family drama that ensued, I found solace in my visits to Grandma. She had been my rock through everything, and now, in her twilight years, I wanted to be there for her as much as she had been for me. Every weekend, Lily and I would make the short drive to Grandma's house. She would be waiting on the porch, her face lighting up as soon as she saw us. "There's my girls," she'd call out, arms outstretched. Lily would race up the steps, throwing herself into Grandma's embrace. "Grandma, I missed you." Watching them together always warmed my heart. Grandma doted on Lily, showering her with love and attention. She never once treated Lily differently because she was adopted. To Grandma, Lily was family, plain and simple. As the months passed, Grandma's health began to decline. Our visits became less about long talks and more about quiet companionship. Lily would read to her, or show her drawings she'd made. Even in her weakened state, Grandma's love for us shone through. The day Grandma passed was one of the hardest of my life. We'd been there with her at the end, holding her hand as she slipped away peacefully. Lily, wise beyond her years, had climbed onto the bed and curled up next to her great-grandmother. "It's okay, Grandma," she'd whispered. "You can rest now. We love you." In the days that followed, as we dealt with our grief and the logistics that come with losing a loved one, we received some unexpected news. Grandma's lawyer called, asking us to come to his office. "Your grandmother left a will," he explained when we arrived. "And, well, you might want to sit down for this." What he told us next left me speechless. Grandma had left everything to me and Lily. The house, several cars, and over $1 million. "Your grandfather was quite successful," the lawyer explained. "And your grandmother was an astute investor. She had intended to leave it all to your mother, despite their estrangement. But when your mother passed..." I nodded, understanding. Grandma had changed her will, leaving everything to us. When word got out about the inheritance, my phone started ringing off the hook. Jessica and Emily called to congratulate me, saying I deserved it. But then came the call I'd been dreading. "Sarah." "Catherine," she said, her voice sickly sweet. "I heard about Grandma's will. So, when are you sharing the inheritance with the rest of us?" I felt a flash of anger. After everything she'd said and done, how dare she? "I'm not," I said firmly. "The inheritance is for me and Lily. That's what Grandma wanted." "But that's not fair," Sarah screeched. "I'm family too. I deserve..." I cut her off. "No, Sarah, you don't. Goodbye." And I hung up. As I put down the phone, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. For so long, I'd tried to please everyone, to be the perfect daughter and sister. But now, I realized it was time to put my own family first. It was Jessica's birthday, and despite my reservations, I decided it was time to make an appearance at a family gathering. When we arrived, the party was in full swing. Jessica's backyard was filled with laughter and chatter. Kids ran around playing tag while adults mingled, drinks in hand. For a moment, it felt like old times. Jessica embraced me warmly. "I'm so glad you came, Kathy," she whispered. I could see the genuine happiness in her eyes. For the first hour or so, everything was fine. Lily joined her cousins on the lawn, their laughter floating across the yard. I relaxed a bit, thinking maybe this wasn't such a bad idea after all. But then I saw Sarah. She was moving from child to child, whispering in their ears. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but I saw the way the kids' eyes widened, the way they glanced at Lily. Suddenly, Lily was standing alone. The other children had moved away, forming their own group, pointedly excluding her. I watched as my daughter's face crumpled in confusion and hurt. Before I could react, Lily ran to me, tears streaming down her face. "Mommy," she sobbed, "they don't want to play with me anymore. They said I'm sick and not really family." Rage boiled up inside me. I hugged Lily close, then marched over to Sarah, who was watching the scene with a smug smile. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" I demanded, my voice low and dangerous. Sarah's smile didn't falter. "Oh, calm down, Catherine. I'm just telling the children the truth. They deserve to know about her condition." "Condition?" I spat. "The only person with a condition here is you, Sarah. Your behavior is disgusting." By now, we'd drawn a crowd. The other adults were watching, wide-eyed, as the confrontation unfolded. Sarah's face twisted into an ugly sneer. "My behavior? That's rich coming from you, Catherine. You, who shamelessly took Grandma's money, robbing the rest of us of our rightful inheritance. And for what? To give money to that girl who isn't even really part of this family?" Gasps echoed around us. "How dare you?" I seethed. "Lily is my daughter. She is as much a part of this family as anyone else." Sarah laughed, a cruel, mocking sound. "Family? She's not even related to us. She's just some random kid you picked up, probably born to drug addicts or criminals. She has no right to our family's legacy." I was shaking with fury now. "You don't know anything about Lily or her birth parents. And it doesn't matter. She is my daughter, and I love her more than anything in this world." "Love?" Sarah sneered. "Is that what you call it when you use a child to steal from your own family? Face it, Catherine. You're nothing but a thief, using that girl to get Grandma's money. Well, we won't stand for it anymore. It's time you shared what rightfully belongs to all of us." I was about to respond when Jessica stepped forward, her face set in determination. "That's enough, Sarah," she said firmly. "You have no right to speak to Catherine like that, or to treat Lily this way." Sarah's eyes widened in shock. "What, you're taking her side?" Emily joined Jessica, standing beside me. "We both are. Catherine has always been there for us, even when our own parents weren't. She raised us, Sarah. She deserves every penny of that inheritance." I felt a lump form in my throat, touched by my sister's support. Sarah's face contorted with rage. "You traitors! How dare you? You're betraying the memory of our parents." Emily scoffed. "Our parents? The same parents who neglected us and showered you with attention? The same parents who cut Catherine off for daring to want an education?" Jessica nodded. "And let's not forget, Sarah, how you took Mom and Dad's house and all their savings after they died. You didn't share a cent of that with any of us." I gasped, this information new to me. "What? Is that true, Sarah?" Sarah's face paled, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. "It's true," Emily confirmed. "She got everything when Mom and Dad passed, and she never once offered to share. A wave of disappointment and anger washed over me. All this time, Sarah had been accusing me of theft when she'd done the very same thing. "Sarah," I said, my voice steady and firm. "I think it's time for you to leave." "You can't make me," she started, but Jessica cut her off. "Yes, she can. This is my house, and I want you to go. We're all tired of your tantrums and your cruelty. Until you can treat Catherine and Lily with respect, you're not welcome here." Sarah looked around, realizing she was outnumbered. With a final glare, she grabbed her son's hand and stormed off. As the gate slammed behind her, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I turned to my sisters, tears in my eyes. "Thank you," I whispered. Later that night, I made a decision. The next day, I called my sisters and told them my plan. Despite their protests that I didn't need to do this, I insisted. I gave them the house and the cars, keeping the $1 million for our family. With the inheritance settled, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. I transferred half of the money to a trust fund for Lily's future, ensuring she would always be taken care of. The other half, Michael and I decided to use for our family. We'd take that trip to Disney World that Lily had been dreaming of. We'd renovate our home, creating the perfect space for our little family. And maybe, just maybe, we'd look into adopting another child, giving Lily the sibling she'd always wanted.